Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today, I want to talk a little bit about some geopolitics, in particular, this massive attempt by the Biden administration to collapse the IC industry in China. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about. The American news is, of course, all gung-ho for it. They say they can stop China dead in its tracks right now because China isn't anywhere near the capability that it needs to be to compete, and by cutting its feet off right now at the knees, it will never be able to compete. No, that's not the case, but that's what everybody's saying. In fact, the Chinese IC industry manufacturing capability is peer capable, and right now is better than the best in the rest of the world, including Taiwan. Couple that with the fact that all, if not, okay, I'm not going to say all's too big. The vast majority of the products that use IC chips are made in China. They're not populated. You don't take a printed circuit board and populate them in the United States. You don't take a printed circuit board and populate them with these IC chips in Vietnam. It's mostly done in China. So, 2 points here. Number one is you put this, what happened with the Biden administration, this underling or whoever the fuck he is, went ahead and did this great grandiose move. Basically takes American companies that make these chips and tell them you can't sell them outside of the United States or outside of our allies. And basically the customer base went from 100% to 0%. These companies are now are faced with extinction. Many of them are faced with extinction. Many. So what you're going to see in functional actuality is these chips are still going to be sold to China under exceptions. Now, the same is true with all the other bans on technology and this and that. So basically what you've got is an apparent attack designed to throttle back Chinese IC chip development. Here's my thoughts on the matter. It's too late in the game, guys. You could have done it back perhaps in 2008, 2009. Can't do it today. China has everything it needs. Now they're using American components and using American-made chips and all this. It won't in the future. It's planning not to in the future. If you think that any of this came as a surprise to China, you are woefully wrong. China's been expecting this to occur. So China knows what to do and is doing it. I can tell you near my home, there's all kinds of IC chip fabrication buildings going up. And artificial intelligence, research, design centers, everything's going up. I mean, it's just mile after mile after mile of skyscrapers. For you, those of you who are still in the States, tell me about all the new construction that's going to now take over from China now. Where's all the construction? Where's the roads? Where's the buildings? Where's the hiring of all these people? Tell me, show me, show me, show me. It's not happening. It's a pronouncement by the Biden administration, looks great in headlines, has lots of op-eds all over the place about how great it is and America's returning and all kinds of stuff like that. But unless you can physically point over there, take a video of you holding a piece of ground right next to the building that's going up, you're full of shit. America's not doing jack shit. Talking, lots of talking, lots of talking, and laws and rules and laws and rules and talk. That's all. It's all talking. No acting, no substance. So, what's going on here is Biden kicked off trade war level 2. And that's what just happened. So what's going to be the result of a trade war? Well, there's only 3 results that you can get as a result of this trade war. But before we talk about the results, I want to make something totally clear. It's a war. It's a propaganda war. It's an electronic war. It's a black operations war. It's an undercover war. It's war on all fronts. It's avoided a hot war, but that's still on the table. So a war is a war is a war. A trade war is a specific small part of the overall war strategy. And so what's the outcome of this American-led hostilities, if you will? Well, there's 3 and only 3 things that can occur. Number 1, America wins the war. Number 2, China wins the war. Or number 3, it's a draw. Both sides partition the world. One side stays on one side, the other side stays on the other side. It's the only 3 things that can happen. And that's the results of a war. Now, let's talk a little bit, since I'm broadened the definition of a trade war to be a war of everything. It's just that the elements haven't all been cycled up. And remember, people, just because it's not being reported in the American news doesn't mean it's not going on. For instance, we know that NATO forces, Polish and American and British forces, are in the Ukraine fighting Russians right now. We know that as a fact. We also know the United States blew up the Nord Stream pipelines because we have proof of the plane supervising the robotic efforts to blow it up and place the charges. We have complete documentation that it was an American naval plane supervising the entire thing. So come on, guys, all right? If you want to read the propaganda, whatever, go over. Just don't stay here, okay? I don't play these games. So another thing I want to specify is not just that a trade war is part of a war, but that the goals are well established. The West, led by the United States, want a unipolar world, meaning there's one world order, one singular world order, and it's controlled by the United States, which is thus controlled by Washington, D.C., which is thus controlled by the Washington oligarchy. That's what they want. And the other side, the East, wants a multipolar world of various nations, each completely autonomous, making their own decisions free of influences by a big nation. That's what they want. From the point of view of the United States, they want it all or nothing. That's a very dangerous point of view. From the point of view of the East, also known as the Global South, they're willing to coexist in whatever way is necessary whether it's a Cold War with a partitioning of the world or just everybody minding their own business. They don't care. They just want to be left alone. And if you don't leave them alone, they will fucking fight back. As we are seeing in Russia right now. I saw an interesting video on Redacted showing how all this stuff with Zelensky and everything and Ukrainian this and that, it's all green screen. Nobody knows where the hell he's at. He's probably in the United States right now. It's all green screen. He is a fictional character. The president of Ukraine is a fictional character. They started off with an actor, trained him, and now he is a fictional character that they parade out to motivate the NATO forces that are fighting in Ukraine. That's pretty fucked up if you ask me. But anyways, let's get back to the subject matter at hand. In reading, as I read these glowing reports of praise for Biden and his great efforts to suppress China and teach China a lesson. And everybody's rah, 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 rah. And of course, their concept of what's actually going on in China and how this will affect China is woefully inadequate. All I could think of is, what's going on? Were you guys living under a rock all this time or what? You know? So, we don't know. The things they've been saying and the things they talk about is just truly messed up. I don't think they have any idea of the reality of China right now. How popular Xi Jinping is. How modern, technologically advanced China is. How capable it is. And how merit-driven and skilled they are. They have no fucking clue. But that doesn't matter, because it's not about China. And that's what I'm getting to right now. They seem to have this idea that they have effectively isolated China from the world, and the whole world hates China. It's not that way, people. The United States is not the world. The media is beaming into the United States, and everybody in America thinks this kind of hallucinogenic fantasy, I guess, but that's not the whole world. And the whole world is pretty much enamored with China. Now, let's talk about reality. This is not about China. It's about SEU. On the 4th of February, 2022, that's this year, Russia and China were joined. Those of you who have read my articles and have seen my videos are quite aware of this. But apparently, the United States never got the memo, nor did any Americans. So they don't understand how tight the relationship is between Russia and China. They also don't understand that the Belt and Road Initiative is through everything right now. You cut off China and you cut off everybody on that Belt and Road. And they can, if they want to. They want to choose between the United States and China. Go ahead. Choose the United States. And see what happens. The United States, oh, no, we're not forcing you to choose. Yet you got these guys and these gals all going all over the world, talking to Africans, talking to people in South America. They say, you must choose. They go to the Solomon Islands. You must choose, us or them. Decide now. Went over to Korea and said, choose. Korea says, you're going to have me destroy my entire economy for that fucking loser who's running the United States? Are you out of your fucking mind? People are not buying it. Now America's thinking, okay, China's going to invade Taiwan. China's going to invade Taiwan. It's going to happen. No, it's not. You want to know what's going on in Taiwan right now? They're talking about reunification with mainland China. Right now, that's what they're talking about. That's it. Right now, that's what they're doing. So there's not going to be any wars, no matter how much the United States wants to bang, war. It's not happening, guys. Not happening. Not happening. And if you think it is, you're a fucking idiot. A fucking idiot. If you believe that, if you believe the American news, you're a fucking idiot. If you believe Drudge Report, you are an idiot. Make myself clear enough? Reality is the world is detoxifying itself and is shitting out the United States and shitting out and vomiting out its proxy nations in a great flow of diarrhea. That's what's actually going on. On a personal note, I am getting all kinds of inquiries. American companies are leaving Vietnam and Mexico, and they're coming back to China. And they're talking to me. Also, I'm reading reports about all this other stuff that's coming back to China. Samsung closed down its factories in China under direction of Donald Trump, and Mike Pompeo moved them to Vietnam. Guess where they're going now? Back to China, guys. German companies, back to China, guys. So don't be so sure that the trade war has really did a 1-2 blow to China, because it hasn't. But anyways, that's enough here. This political stuff, I gotta tell you, it's a big headache. It's not that the political stuff itself is a big headache. It's just a fucking flood of lies. I mean, it just really angers me. I'm reading about how everybody is leaving China, China's fucked, China has been completely evicted and eviscerated. And I'm like, what the fuck, guys? That's not what I'm seeing. That's not what's happening. There's going to be invasion. It's not happening. That's not happening. Tell me about Putin's brain cancer. Huh? Tell me about the little old ladies in the Ukraine that shoot down Russian fighter bombers. Tell me about those great stories, huh? It's just a lying machine. The United States has the biggest lying machine in the world. By the way, talking about lying machines, you know that the COVID, everybody is so sick and tired of COVID over in Shanghai. You know, some of these, you know, commenters or people who comment on forums and they refer to some of this stuff, you can tell they're bots or just mindless people. In China, you use the internet, they got you. Use the phone, they got you. You film something in China, everywhere's got an ID tag. Everything's got an ID tag. If you're supposed to be in a COVID hospital, there's an ID at the bed. IDs on the trays. The people wearing those garbs, you're not supposed to be able to know who they are, have their names and ID QR code. If you don't see it, it's a fake video. So, it's pretty damn hard now to make fake videos in China. Because you can tell if you know what to look for. Anyway, so the United States is just giving this big illusion of success and stuff, and it's really not really happening. The actual opposite's occurring. So what do we got? We got the SEO. We got the American and its proxies against the SEO. SEO, Iran, Russia, India, China, most of the South Pacific, basically all of Asia except for NATO. And so all this stuff, this trade war, this war is going to come across that. Now, the first thing you have to understand, as I said, there's three options. America wins, America wins, China wins, or there's a draw. The fact is, it's highly unlikely, no matter what America does, that it will win. It's less than 10%. And the reason is because all the RAND studies, all the American War College studies, all the university studies from Tufts and Drexel, all these studies show China winning. The only case where it's borderline, where America might possibly have an opportunity to win, is if Russia is completely destroyed and out of the picture, and China is isolated, and America does a first nuclear strike against China. Those three things, and it's a possible draw in a nuclear or a war conflict. Now that's pretty important to understand. The only way that this war, initiated by the Biden administration, and will be followed up by whatever follow-up administration or whoever's in Congress, the only way that America can absolutely win is if Russia's destroyed first, China is completely isolated from the world, whether it's blockade or anything like that, and America does a preemptive nuclear strike where China is caught unaware. People, do you think that that's really possible? Knowing what you see what's going on with Russia, knowing what you see what's going on in the United States, and everything I've told you, do you think it's really possible that the entire rest of the world will say, we don't need any cell phones anymore, we don't need any computers anymore, we don't need electric cars anymore? Do you think that's really possible? It's for that reason that I think it's a very, very low probability of the United States winning this conflict that's starting. Very, very low. In the single digits, less than 9%. I would say less than 0.1% actually, but that's just me. Of course, the second option is China wins, right? China wins. For China to win, it means that the United States would be no longer functional. The United States would be broken into separate countries. The United States would not be the global military empire that it is right now. How can that occur? Well, you can do it a world war, fighting and killing. You can have a pandemic. Or you can just stand back and let America eat itself alive. By all indications, that seems to be what it is, because like this so-called trade war action on IC chip fabs is just basically giving all IC technology to China is basically what it's doing. Oh, you may not see it right now this year. I tell you, in 5 years, America will be 0, China will be at 1,000. 5 years. Within 5 years. So basically, I'm seeing the United States eat itself. You seen the videos of New York City subways lately? Ugh. Homeless encampments. At what point in time will Americans say enough is enough? I don't know. The inflation's pretty nasty. The rest of the world is giving up on the US dollar. The Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and Iran has told the United States to go fuck itself. Russia and China are very, very angry right now with Israel. They say, you want to go play two-faced games? All right, you're on our shit list now. This is bad, bad news for the United States. Okay? Will China win a war? China has a very defensive military. It's not designed for force projection. Oh, sure, they can sit back and just nuke the living shit out of the United States. They have the ability. They got hypersonics with nuclear capabilities. Americans can't shoot them down for shit. China controls the skies, controls satellites. Did you see what China did to Starlink network? Yeah, see, the Pentagon's running Starlink. So Elon Musk's operation. So Pentagon's running it. And so the Pentagon is just showing these Starlinks trying to hit the Chinese space station. Tried once, tried second time. When it started the third time, China pressed a button and they all fell to the ground. But that wasn't reported. Oh yeah, it was a freak geomagnetic storm. That's how it was reported. As I told you, the war is not being reported. You are living in this blanket of ignorance. And as the Titanic sank, there were people still playing cards in the dining salon, comfortable because they believed that the ship was unsinkable. So, it's a possibility, China winning, but I think, at least in this short term, the interim will be the Cold War, which is a draw, a carving up of the two halves of the world. And as it's carved up, and America does this and that, it's like an old engine that is burning tons of oil. And you got your foot on the floor, your foot is on the gas, and the motor is constantly turning, but your speed is getting slower and slower and slower, because no matter how much fuel you put in, how much oil you add, no matter what you do, the motor is no longer able to drive that car any longer. It just gets worse and worse. The motor just shakes more and more and more, but it doesn't do anything, and that's what the United States is right now. So as the United States tries to do a punch, and do a punch, and do this, you know, China and the rest of the world is like a scene from The Matrix where they do this, move that, you know. And America's getting eaten alive. So what do I anticipate? I anticipate a new Cold War where the United States throws punches and the SEO adroitly sidesteps them. And any fighting is not going to be reported, so you won't know what's going on, but you'll probably hear of more submarines ramming into undersea mountains that were surprising, and freak geomagnetic storms, and emergency needs to pick up a plane that suddenly slid off an aircraft carrier accidentally, don't you? Maybe there might be another logistical accident like the Baham Richards that blew up that aircraft carrier in port, don't you know? There'll be more stuff like that. Anything that's reported will be blamed on freak accidents or routine things, not the fact that China is fighting back. America is going to, if you think this is bad now, this time next year it's going to be really bad. If you're an American, proxy nations won't be so bad. But if your nation is in love, the more your nation is in love with the United States, the harder it's going to hit you. So if your nation is tied economically to the US dollar or whatever they want, the United States wants you to do, you'll be paying for it in some kind of inflationary actions, unfortunately. So what do I see happening? Again, I anticipate a Cold War that's going to last a while. America will continue to collapse while it tries to get Russia out of the way. China is just going to kind of sit back, strengthen itself. And there will be a point of inflection, a point of major crisis at some point in time, either next year or the year afterwards. And when that happens, that's going to be the peak event. We don't know what it is, but I can almost guarantee that it will be initiated by the United States in some way, through actions or reactions. And American leadership and politicians are unskilled deviants with mental illnesses or on drugs, in love with spreadsheets and money, with no practical experience in life. While China is a merit-driven organization with lots of experience. And we'll see what happens. My bets are on a Chinese overall success and a new world in a multipolar world with the United States reorganized in some way. That's what I anticipate. So what do I anticipate in the future? A period of trade war followed by a collapse of the United States and breaking into smaller bits, and a new world order led by China. That's my anticipation. That's what I think is going to happen. Hopefully, it will avoid nuclear conflict. Hopefully, it'll avoid wide-scale destruction. But if there is any inkling that the United States is going to use any of its nuclear bombs or starts placing its nuclear bombs within flight trajectories that is going to hit Russia or China, I can tell you and assure you that they will preemptively destroy the United States to a non-functional landmass. And then the United States can go ahead and fight a war to whatever degree it wants to out of the remains of what it once was. Go ahead. History has shown that all these isolated bases will pretty much be told to shut down or die. You think a base over in Syria, once the United States has collapsed, is going to be able to survive? No, they'll be like those Roman legions that when Rome collapsed, they went feral. That's what's going to happen. And all these proxy nations, once they see the United States doesn't have any teeth, they're going to stop being puppets. Many of them will. Not all of them, though. Many will. It'll be an interesting time, and it's going to happen next year, and perhaps into the year after that, and we'll see. In the meantime, if you're living in Europe, or if you're living in Australia, or if you're living in the States, I recommend prudence. Do your affirmation campaigns. Avoid getting in conflict with the people who are in the United States right now. They are angry and pissed off and emotional as all get out, and they are striking left and right at everything. Be careful around them. And take care of your own. Be good to dogs and cats. Be somebody your grandmother would be proud of. Help people. Buy a cup of coffee for a coworker. Plant a garden. Learn how to can. Ride a bike. Okay? Be part of your community. Offer support in your community. Be able to provide a helping hand to those in need. And you will be surprised how you and yours will be able to survive while the world comes tumbling down around you. And keep in mind, too, that the entire world isn't crumbling. It's only the United States. And to a certain degree, the proxy nations. So have some faith. It's not going to be all that bad. As the commander has said, there will be some bad things. And it will be small to medium bad. Small to medium bads. I don't quite know how to interpret that. My mind thinks nuclear, but it may not be nuclear. But that's just me. Bads can be many, many things. But I'm sure the commander was talking on the global scene and not in my personal life. I'm sure of that. So the commander sent me here. Commander took me and put me here in China to keep me safe and to finish my operational tasks. That's why I'm here. Operational tasks have to do with humanity and helping others. And that's why I'm here. And so I'm safe. As long as I'm helping people. And I hope that I'm helping you guys. I really do. I hope that I'm providing something good for you guys. In my own little way. And I got another message here. Saying a mean thing to somebody face to face is really doesn't make the world a better place, does it? Saying a mean thing to a person on the phone, what do? They do it like this, right? Doesn't help anybody either. Doesn't make the world a better place. Typing a comment or an email that says something mean or hurtful does not make the world a better place. Keep that in mind. Make the world a better place. Say a nice thing, even if it's a lie. Say something nice. The world needs people to pick others up, even if it's just a little bit. Do your part. You pick up that little piece of tissue, put it in the trash. A little bit. Make a little bit of difference. Okay? Make your world count. And I believe in you. Take care, people. And remember, as crazy as the news is, the reality is something completely different. Don't believe the news. Believe what you see with your own two eyes and make the difference. I believe in you. Go forth and smile, son. Okay? Take care, people. Bye-bye.
Your goal, one toe, I, you keep on cheer when I see you, if you see me calling.